It's Winning Wednesday, and today we're talking about winning and scaling your business with my friend Nate Ginsburg, who's really good at this. He's figured this out, and he's going to give us a presentation today and teach us how to scale our businesses. So, Nate, it's really great to have you.
It's really great to be here.
Yeah, so you're in Thailand right now, right?
I am in Thailand. Sun went down, maybe an hour ago, it's sunset season here. We're friends on Facebook, but if you see it's every night. It's incredible. Riding a nice epic sunset high, and coming into this to get to hang with you. What a great evening.
And so you have inspired me this month. I have gotten so much done in my business. You came and talked in our mastermind group about scaling, and it really, really inspired me to do a time analysis to figure out the way that you broke it down is look, think about all the seats that you're filling in your business, all the different seats that you're sitting in, and how you're kind of, if you thought of each seat as a desk, how you're just like switching from seat to seat to seat, and then think about those things that you can do to fill those seats with other people, right? And so that really, really inspired me, and I got that done this month. I've got a whole org chart done. Look at this. I gotta show you, Nate. This is because of you, man.
Look at that. Wow.
So we're making 2 hires this month. We're really doing a great job in scaling. And so I just want to thank you for that.
So glad to hear that. That's makes me so happy. I'm so glad to hear that. And that's why I want to do this. So glad it's been helpful, and looking forward to sharing with the rest of the crew, and hope that it can be helpful for them as well.
Yeah. So M. Layton says, hi, Nate, and hi, Amy. Hello. Thank you for being here.
Hello.
All right.
Thank you as well.
I want Nate to be able to give us as much value as possible today. So I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to let Nate take over here, and make sure you guys, if you have any questions along the way, to feel free to ask those questions. And I'm gonna let Nate take it away. All right, go for it, Nate.
All right. Thank you, Amy. Well, yeah, awesome. So glad to be here. Hope you are as excited as I am. And before diving in, I just have one request for anyone that is out there listening. And you have my word, my commitment that while we're here, I'm gonna do this the best that I freaking can, and I want to share and help, and I hope that this can be impactful. And what I ask of you, or anyone that's here now listening, is to please engage. So there'll be times I'll ask questions. There's some activities that I'll be looking for examples. And so please participate, and even more. And later, just take action. And so with that, we can dive in, how to scale to 7 figures and beyond. And the one thing you need to take your business to the next level. At Nate Ginsburg on all the socials, and would love to connect. So let's get started. Most people, they build their businesses the wrong way. So this is how most people build their business. You see, this is Hustler Hank, or of course his not pictured girlfriend, Hustler Hannah. Does irritating tasks because doesn't have a team to delegate. Can't take days off because they're stuck in the business. Stuck working in the business, stuck on the org chart. Really, when it comes down to it, they're too busy to do the shit that is going to make them less busy. And so first, any Hustler Hank or Hustler Hannahs out there? If so I do this on Zoom sometimes. You can do the hand raise on Zoom. Well, you can virtually be hand raising. Anyway, if that resonates, don't worry. That's not bad, because awareness is the first step to improving, and improving you can. And let me introduce the visionary Vince, and of course his girlfriend, also not pictured, visionary Vivian. And the visionary works on what they want, when they want, where they want, with who they want, only does work that excites him, focuses on the big picture, the vision, the steering the ship, has an amazing team that's running the business for him. So this is what so all you hustlers out there, this is, there's a better way to run your business, and this is it. But of course, getting in the way, we've got an enemy, a challenge, and that is donkey work. And so donkey work it's all that stuff in your business that you don't enjoy, that drains your energy, is tedious. And donkey work is what is stopping us from leveling up from hustler to visionary. So what we got to do is to get rid of that donkey work. And this is something that I feel personally very strongly about. And the reason is because I genuinely, it's so important for me to do work that I care about and to have, to do things that are the highest impact. This is so important to me. And it's therefore so important for me to also help others with the same thing. And this is something I've, thought about a lot. And want to help entrepreneurs to get rid of donkey work so they can level up from hustler to visionary, create more value, receive more value, and just live better, build better businesses and live better lives. So just a little real quick about me. I'm Nate Ginsburg again. I sold my FBA business for just under $1 million. Man, I guess like 4 years ago now. Since then, I've invested and now advising a portfolio of mostly e-commerce related online businesses. I believe that business is the best vehicle for freedom that we all have available. We just need to build it the right way. And I love helping FBA e-com businesses to unplug, do more of what they love, scale, as well as remove themselves for their business so that they can exit. And so link, I want you all to go check out is sellerplex.com/amazing, where you can get these slides as well as some bonuses that we'll get to later. And we're a little bit pressed for time, and so going to be going through things quickly. So definitely recommend if you'd like the slides, they'll be available. You can go through all this stuff slower. So moving on. So right now we're going to talk about how to go from the hustler to the visionary and crush donkey work into the good stuff. So before actually getting into the bulk of the content, my goal here is to share some ideas that can be little hinges that swing big doors. So what does this mean? So little hinges are those strikes of insight, those aha moments, those shifts in perspective that single shift in perspective or realization then really changes the way that you see yourself, that you see your business, that you understand what's possible. And, here we are, we're spending, 45 minutes or so together, obviously don't have time to, cover everything. And so in my attempt to have the biggest impact possible, what I can do is try to share some of these little hinges. And so we're going to get into those in a second. But it is my hope and it is my goal that one of these things, at least one, is just going to resonate and shift how you see yourself and your business. And Amy mentioned before we started recording something she saw me present this to her mastermind a couple of weeks ago. And it sounded like there was, something clicked and then empowered her or impacted her to make all these positive changes in her business. And that's amazing. And that's what I want for you as well. So, all right, the little hinges, the 3 keys. We got the question that changes everything, your FBA Dream Team blueprint, and the one thing that every business needs to scale and sell and crush donkey work forever. All right, quick water break. So who recognizes that guy? I do. I think everyone does. It's Michael Jordan, of course, arguably the greatest basketball player ever to live. And you see, when he first started playing in the NBA, he was breaking doing amazing, winning scoring titles, really becoming a force to be reckoned with. But in his mind, he was not a success. And the reason he wasn't a success is because Michael Jordan wanted to win championships. And at first, in his first handful of years in the league, he was not. So it wasn't until MJ was united with these guys, his running mate, Scottie Pippen, and their legendary coach, Phil Jackson, that he was finally able to overcome those obstacles, those hurdles, and achieve his big goals of winning championships. And they did. They won, was it 6 in 8 years? And incredible dynasty. And MJ realized that the way to solve his big problems and achieve his big goals, it wasn't doing more. It was getting the right who's around him to support him. And MJ, even arguably the greatest basketball player ever to live, he knew that he couldn't do it alone, and he needed support, as well as from this guy, his trainer, this guy Tim Grover, also a legend. And MJ, the best basketball player to play, knew that he needed help and support, and that is what allowed him to achieve his big goals. And so the question that we want to think about, and this is one of those little hinges, is when we have a big goal, when we have a challenge, we want to ask the question, who can help us, not how. So just like Michael Jordan, it wasn't about doing more. It was about getting the right who's around him so he could achieve his big goals. Same with us. And so why some of this might sound a little bit crazy or different is because our schools that we're educated in, or most of us, or if you are educated in America or Western society, they teach us wrong, honestly. They teach us that, to succeed, everything is by ourselves. We're taking tests. We can't talk to people. We can't use can't use resources. It's memorization. And, our education system was built to pump out really, factory workers. And, the world has evolved a lot in the last, 100 plus years. And so that's why we aren't taught this in schools. And so to start achieving goals with who's, I want you to imagine that there's two different kinds. So there's micro who's and there's macro who's. So a micro who is someone that is going to do a specific thing for you. So in this example, Lyndon, my slide designer, I am not a good slide designer, but when I present, I want to have nicely designed slides. So I could try to power through and do this myself and figure it out. Or I can use Lyndon, and he's an amazing designer and he makes the slides look good. And in this, he is a big who for me, designing my slides so that I don't have to. So that's a micro who doing a specific thing. Then we've got macro who's. So this example, Matt Smith is a really successful entrepreneur and mentor for me. And Matt is someone that he's done amazing things. He's built amazing businesses. And instead of me trying to figure out a lot of these, high level strategy, how to do things, I've been very fortunate to learn so much from Matt about building businesses, about hiring, about running businesses. And Matt, in this case, he's a macro who, so someone that he's been there, he's done that, and he can show me the way to achieve what it is that I want to achieve. So I just want to share a quick case study of a client and good friend named Tony. And so Tony, rewind 6 months, and Tony, he has a multi-million-dollar business, but he was classic hustler Hank, working in the business, stuck talking to suppliers all day, dealing with issues, dealing with customer service, burning out. And so working with Tony, we identified top 5. And so you see this top 5, these were all 5 who's that Tony needed to help him to unplug from his business so that he could, stop doing to level up from hustler, as well as remove himself as a bottleneck and scale. And so fast forward, and this has been, it's working great for Tony. And he is now unplugged from the business. The business is running better than ever. Tony is doing less. And I share this with you because when we talk about types of who's, in this case, you see what Tony said. I'm grateful for the resources that you shared. And what he's specifically referring to are the who's that through our work together, we were able to insert for Tony to allow him to unplug. And in this, actually, Tony and I are who's for each other. So I, in this case, am a macro who for Tony. I'm showing him the path. I've done this before, so I can show him this is what you need to do. And in this as well, Tony is a who for me because, like I said, I love doing this. I love helping entrepreneurs with this. My mission, I want to rid them from donkey work. And Tony has been, he's a good friend. He's a great client. He's been amazing to work with. And in this, again, we're who's for each other. So when you understand that who's, not how, is how we solve problems, and hiring is the way to get the right who's, then we understand that hiring is a superpower. And when we master this, it really opens up any and everything in your business because this is how we get the right who's. So really, for any Lord of the Ring fans out there, hiring, it's the one skill to rule them all. If you can competently and successfully hire, you can solve any problem in your business now and in the future. All right. So talked about, some feedback interaction. I am going to look for some, or at least one, hopefully, example. And so would like you to share what is one micro who or one macro who that you think can help you. Or if you share your goal, we can see if we can identify a micro or a macro who, if anything comes to mind. If I could see you, I'd try to call people out. But
Oh, okay. Here I am. So I was muted. I was like, okay, I'm just talking to no one. So what you want them to do is identify one micro who and one macro who can help them.
yeah.
I love that. We have Sunny saying hello, everyone. And we have Mark saying that he's looking forward to a copy of the slides. So those of you who, and there's a bunch of you watching, so say hello and maybe, or just tell us if you haven't identified the who's yet, or if you're working on that. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, well, for those of you being shy over there, you can go over to sellerplex.com/amazing where you'll have these action items available for you to take action on.
Darren
Julia,
says
accountant.
Darren says an accountant.
That's a great who to have on your team. And yeah, Amy is an amazing macro who I know for so many of us. Helping so many e-commerce and FBA sellers. And right, exactly. So much easier to follow the plan from someone who's done it, Amy, as opposed to, trying to figure everything out on their own. Anyway, all right. Cool. Well, encourage you, please, download the slides, go through the exercises.
And Mark says, "Hey Nate, micro is me, macro is Amy, my star."
Well, I'd encourage you. Maybe there's could be some other there could be some other micros. But yeah, we'll in the interest of time, can come back to this. So thank you those for sharing. All right. So, we got a quote from Ray Dalio, a billionaire hedge fund manager, from his book Principles, amazing book. Says, manage as someone who's designing and operating a machine to achieve the goal. Look down on your machine and yourself within it from the higher level. So what is he talking about? He's talking about building your business as a machine. And this is a really, again, one of those little hinges, shifting how you see. You have to understand that what you're building, your business is it's just like a machine. And just like a machine has different parts and components that it's made up of and all work together to create an output. The same is with your business. A bunch of different pieces that work together to, that is your business. And so again, a big key fundamental understanding is your business as a machine made up of these different parts. And so just like a business has a blueprint, or just like a machine has a blueprint, your business has a blueprint, and that business is called your org chart. So this is just a generic example that can be modeled for most type businesses. We can look at a example for an FBA business, and so this is my org chart when I was running my FBA business. This was the org chart that I designed with the different roles that made up the business. And also now with Sellerplex, so Sellerplex, we provide a lot of different operation services for Amazon sellers. And so at Sellerplex, which was founded from the team that was running my business after I sold, we started offering services. And so the org chart for Sellerplex looks also quite similar to this. And so, Sellerplex now, there's like 30 people, all these different, everything but new product development Sellerplex doesn't do. And so have a ton of experience hiring for these roles, finding good who's for all of these different roles, and know you can do it too. And so this is what an example of an org chart for an FBA business can look like. You can model this exactly. You can change it. It's not like a one-size-fits-all sort of thing. It's just about finding something that works for you. And the important thing to note here is the different buckets that make up your business. So you've got the financial side, you've got the Amazon bucket, you've got supply chain management, you've got new product development. These are the core functions that you need in order to run your business. And so what happens is, when you start, often you are the one who's doing everything. When you just start the business, you are, exactly. When you start your business, you're the one doing everything, and that's okay. You probably don't have a huge budget to outsource, but the goal and what you want to be moving towards is this. So this is your role as CEO of the business, sitting up there at the top of your org chart. Your role is understand or deciding the vision and direction of the business, building culture, you decide what capabilities the business builds, which is also another way of saying how you allocate capital, allocate resources, and as well as your unique ability. If there are certain areas that you just love and enjoy, then do those that are great. And So yes, Sonny, you at the start, you're the one who's responsible for all the areas. But what you want to do is, the vision and the objective is to be exclusively visionary Vince. So again, this is the goal. And so the way that you do that is building your dream team. And really important to realize with the org chart is that one person can be sitting in more than one seat. So like we were talking about, when you just start your business, it's just you're likely doing everything. But then the goal is to start unplugging yourself one thing at a time from the roles that aren't your highest and best use. And also important to recognize that two people cannot have one seat. And so that is just organization disaster. So question, how quickly would you recommend splitting the roles out? So I understand what you're saying, but it's less about splitting the roles out it's less about physically splitting the roles out as much as mentally. And so even when you're the one who's doing everything, you need to recognize that you're, being very aware and mindful of the activities that you're doing and what bucket those fall under, so that you're creating these different job descriptions, these different roles for your business. And so, there are, like, your business has an org chart, and it is being, the roles are being fulfilled. It's just this, this shift in recognizing that you're, and if it's just you're the one that you're doing, there are these different seats that you're sitting in, so that you can then begin, removing yourself one at a time from those different seats.
And Nate, if I could just add to this, how I went about this, and Mark, it's a really great question because I think a lot of people struggle with this. How I went about this is I did a time analysis. So basically, I just got a spreadsheet out and put in there the task that I was doing, the day and the date and the task that I was doing, and then who was the primary who. So it might have been me, I'm the primary who for most of those tasks, but sometimes I was filling in for someone else. Sometimes I was doing something else, right? So I would put them as the primary who. So most of the spreadsheet said me, and here were all my tasks. And then what I did, and this was important, this was what helped me get to here, where I could actually identify all the seats that I'm filling. Um, what I did is I asked after that, I said, okay, can this task be outsourced? Yes or no? And if I said yes, I really had to think about it. Okay, do I need to be cleaning out my email box every day? I'm spending a lot of time every day cleaning out my email box. Do I need to be the person doing that? And I said, no, I don't need to be the person. It could be an administrative assistant going through my emails and just sending me the things that I need. They could be doing these tasks of cleaning out, these things and filing them under the right areas, right? So what I did is at the end of the week, after looking at all my tasks for the whole week, I had a list of who's. I realized I spent a lot of time copywriting. I spent a lot of time copywriting. I also spent a lot of time managing my social media. So those were my two biggest who's that I could identify that were taking up the chunks of my time. And guess what? I had a job description for them because I had a list of tasks that I was doing that could be outsourced to them, and that I've already identified those who's. So that's how I was able to actually look at, I'm up here, but I have all these teams that could be part of my business and positions that are underneath each of those teams. Right now, I'm filling most of them. However, my goal, now that I've done that task analysis and I've identified who those tasks could be outsourced to, now I've been able to fill in names and I've been able to identify those first hires. So that kind of will help you determine how quickly to do it, because you're going to go, okay, wait, I'm spending a lot of time doing these things. And if I didn't have to do that, what could I do about growing my business? Right. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah,
Get you organized.
I mean that's amazing to hear, and I think the right way to go about it. And also it's like, you know just getting, there's always the 80/20, and so getting, one person, it's like you don't need to build everything at once, but like getting one, the biggest pain off your plate, even one thing is going to have a huge impact, and then it's like that frees up X in this. And so yeah, all right. So other questions. So poor customer service from outsourced companies. I mean, there should be good SOPs, and like I mean, I have you heard a lot of horror stories from
So
poor customer service?
I tend to agree. As companies grow, sometimes they don't scale well, and customer service suffers because the primary who used to care about that so much used to be you running everything. You've now outsourced it, and often as companies grow, and I see this with copywriting services all the time because I'm a copywriter and I write product listings. But I see the really professional copywriting service agencies that don't do a good job of writing a listing because they've grown so quickly and they let go of those initial SOPs from that single copywriter who started that business, right? So you see this all the time in the service industry as they grow. But I agree with Nate. Here, it's important to provide that feedback. So, and nurture that person who's coming onto your team and help them understand that they're part of your mission and that their work matters. So, it's not something like you just hire someone and you just immediately pass everything off. You need to
Well,
do some nurturing, you need to do some
yeah.
training, you need to give them feedback over time, you need to check in with them. So it doesn't excuse your need to be a good leader and a good manager, but eventually you can replace yourself as a manager, and that manager can be overlooking all of your teams.
Yeah, and also, and just to speak specifically to customer service, which like Sellerplex, we manage like a lot of customer service for a lot of accounts, and what we do is make sure that there are one good SOPs to there's any business for customer service. There's going to be the 80-20 of like handful of questions that are most commonly asked. And so we make sure that before we take over, we are properly trained and onboarded with how to answer the questions. And then the other thing is having clearly understood KPIs in terms of what is acceptable response time, and having communication about this and saying like, okay, like how long is okay to respond to a message, and anything's possible. It's just if you want everything responded to a second later is going to be a certain, needs certain resources, which is going to entail a certain cost. Or if is it okay if they respond 1 hour later, 6 hours later, 12 hours later? I mean, up to you to decide what is, what you want for your business. But the point is having communication and appropriately setting expectations around that. So we know, okay, you said these are the questions. This is how we answer them. This is the response time. And so yeah, just getting really clear and communicating well, I think is the core of it.
And I can agree with Sunny here. She said, I find it most difficult to stop being the one who is spinning the plates. And, you know, I think a lot of us struggle with that. But I agree with you where it's much easier to hire someone else who can do that task faster than to spend the time. So
Yeah,
recently
well,
I built a dashboard for my mastermind group. I wanted people to be able to track their accomplishments and be able to reach out to others who were working on the same things. And so I built this cool dashboard with forms and everything integrated. But I started working on it and I realized, oh, wow, I do not, if I can figure this out, but it will literally take me, days to do this. So I hired somebody on Fiverr who was an expert at Google Sheets and forms, and they knocked it out for me and built it all. And then when I had questions, I could ask them, and they became my who for that task. And I was able to accomplish the task and free myself up to continue doing all the other things that moved me forward. So I agree, Sunny, with not bottlenecking yourself, like recognizing how many hours is that going to take me to do to spin that plate, and how many hours it's going to take somebody who's experienced and who loves doing that to do, right?
yeah, and let's yeah, we'll continue because we'll get into some of the things about yeah,
Yeah,
what
sounds
roles
great.
to be, and yeah, we'll be going through things a little bit quickly, but it's fun talking. I hope this is useful, and I mean, I like the chatting, but yeah, all right, so. Da, da, da. So yeah, this is a part just gonna. Not gonna really spend time going through the different roles, but this is what they are: Amazon admin, bookkeeper, content, supply chain manager, Amazon marketing, new product development. Pretty standard for Amazon businesses. And again, if you want to look at these in more detail, you can download the slides. And so yeah, in terms of determining what roles to remove yourself from first. Important to think about your hourly rate. So we all have an hourly rate. Sometimes e-commerce people don't think about this, but everyone has an hourly rate. You receive income, you do work. So hours spent working divided by income equals hourly rate. And so taking a look at that, a lot of e-commerce entrepreneurs, they get into physical products. They don't want to trade their time for money. And they become unaware that they're still have an hourly rate and need to act accordingly. And so hourly rates for some of these core Amazon roles, who's that we talked about, are over here. And the range really comes down to your ability to hire. And so like I know on the low end of the range, me and my team, like in that range, probably can get even lower because we're really good and experienced at hiring. If you're less experienced, it's going to be more expensive. But yeah, taking a look at your hourly rate. And so if you've got like $1 million business, then you're making a $250,000 profit. Your hourly rate is like $120 an hour. And so I don't know where exactly your business, if you're watching, where you're at, but so you think about that. So if you're doing, if you're making $100K a year, 6 figures, that's like $60, 60 hourly rate. And even if you're not there, then it's important to keep that in mind for your goals of knowing that you should be spending your time on, if you want to have $1 million business, you should be acting under the assumption that that's what you're building, $1 million business. And in $1 million business, your hourly rate is over $100 an hour, which means if you're doing some of these lower level tasks, you're literally bleeding money. Your rate is here, and what it costs to do it is down here. And that gap between, what your rate is and what you could be paying is just wasted value. And so please don't do that. All right, action item. We're going to go through this one, quickly in the interest of time, is to build your org chart. And we have, space to do that on the worksheet. And pick one role, one seat, one thing that you're doing that you can remove yourself from, where you're bleeding the most money, the lowest value task that you're currently doing that you can find someone else to do for you. Action, please do it. All right, so quick story time. We're going back to 2015 in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, Saigon, where I was living at the time. And the reason I was there is because it was an amazing entrepreneur community that I'm still a part of. And I mean, friends and colleagues and everything today. And so this was the year that my business was really taken off. And this was really exciting, but it was also stressful. I remember dealing with all the supply chain issues myself. I had to stay up late to talk to my forwarders, the time, because of dealing with the time zones. It was hectic, classic hustler Hank. And then I was hanging out with some of the crew in Ho Chi Minh City, and was talking to a guy there who is a marketing consultant. And what he did was build marketing funnels for his clients. And he was explaining to me how he builds these marketing funnels. You put in the leads at the top, and then, they go through these different steps, and then out the bottom come, qualified leads or sales. And, when he was saying this, it really struck a chord. It really struck a chord, or just kind of gave me a shift in perspective that, just like he was building these funnels for his marketing, I could build a funnel for my hiring. And so got to work, built out, version 1 of this hiring funnel. And, long story short, it worked, made it a lot easier, faster, better, and made me realize that the key to hiring success is building out this hiring funnel. So why a hiring funnel? Fast, efficient, effective, scalable, all things that are important to me. I think are important to you as well. And it's with our hiring funnel that we can beat donkey work forever. And so the one thing, like I said, you have this, you can master hiring, you can unplug, you can scale, you can sell, the one skill to rule them all. So what does the hiring funnel look like? Well, this is what it looks like. We've got the job post with initial questions, follow-up questions, test project, and then interview. And so one thing that you'll notice is that the interview here comes last. And so I don't want to talk to a candidate unless I'm unless I'm very confident that we're going to work together, because I've had so many interviews with candidates that I didn't end up hiring, and that ends up just being wasted time. And so I only want to, like, I really value my time. I'm very aware of my hourly rate, and I only want to spend it on, people that are going to be a part of the business moving forward and part of the plan. And so don't do the interview until the end. So can just run through these, yeah, very quickly. So for a successful job post, the first, the top of the hiring funnel, you've got a title, about you, about the role, desired skills, and then initial questions. Then we got an Upwork logo because that's my go-to hiring platform. For people that respond to the first round, following up with a second round of questions. And the reason here is you're testing communication. If they flake and don't respond, get to the question about the setup in a bit. So yeah, you're testing communication. You also can ask about the rate. I like to ask about the rate in the questions before getting to an interview, and can also dig deeper. And then next, and I'd say most importantly, is the test project. And so the test project is you pull out a little piece of what their role will be, and you give it to them as a test project. So you try to make it useful. You try to make it as relevant to what their job is going to be. And it's an opportunity for you to try before you buy. And the test project, like, this is the most important part, because this is what I value the most. So when I'm reviewing candidates, this is the first thing that I look at. And sometimes most candidates, I'll only look at their test projects, and then the ones that look good, that I want to move forward with, then I'll look back on the other stuff, because what's going to be the most useful for you? How someone answers questions, or reviewing their actual work? It's obviously reviewing the work. And so that's why these are so important. And just to with Sellerplex, we're really working on building out our hiring, and that's a capability that we've been investing a lot in. And so one of the things I've been working on is building like a recruiter army. And so what we did is we put together this test project for recruiters, and I literally gave out 10 of them, or I gave the goal for the team was to give out 10 test projects. I think we ended up giving out 7, and from the 7, 4 were good, and then from the 4, 2 really stood out. And so that is how, that's how to approach it. That's the 80-20 is test projects. Then after you have the test project, after you see how they work, the interview, it's really just about getting started and seeing if they are a good culture fit. And so to the question about setting, how long does it take? So with the hiring funnel, like Abe Lincoln says, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree. I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. The fastest and most efficient way to do it is to build out the hiring funnel first, so that you can then very quickly and easily move candidates forward, and you don't become a bottleneck, and it's just easier. You already have everything built out. You just move people through. And so want to brainstorm the last action item activity together is brainstorming a test project. And so this was something I was hoping to get some examples. And if there's a role that you're thinking of filling, or that you'd like to fill, and if you want to brainstorm a test project. So this is something that a lot of people get hung up on, this idea of test project, and like it's actually it's very simple. If anyone's interested, we can go through some together. But this is something I've noticed that people get hung up on a lot, and it's also like super, super important.
And what I did for my test project is because we're doing this right now with your hiring funnel for our copywriter and social media manager that we're hiring. And what I did for my test project was just picked some of the kind of donkey work tasks that I'm doing right now with each of those from my task analysis. And I said, okay, how could I have them do this, but also show that they're competent in what we're looking for in the job description? So, our social media manager or assistant manager, for example, we have them planning a week of content after studying our other content that we've previously, posted, and we have them just planning out a week of content, and so that we can see and writing some phrases for posting that content, so we can see, have they followed the instructions, how do they schedule it, do they have experience working with Canva and some of the other tools that we use. And also, we're keeping in mind that we don't want to give them so much access to everything during a test project. So we're keeping it something very simple that they can do on Google Drive with a Google document and an edit link for Canva, right? Keeping it simple, but also showing their skills, and also giving them a paid budget for that project. So that's how we did it. Any
That's
advice or analysis?
I mean, I think that's perfect and exactly how I would do it. And with that, it's just like, yeah, like give them a small piece of the work that they actually, what you want to hire them to do, and pay them for a small test to see how they actually do. And yeah, amazing. It's like that approach applied to whatever you want to hire for, is yeah, I mean, exactly it. But the thing also, and I mean, I love that Amy didn't like didn't overcomplicate the whole test project thing. And some people, I don't know, they get it in their head, and it's like they think it's this big thing, and they need to like draw out this elaborate test project. And it's like, no, it's like, all right, look, like here's our social media, analyze what we're posting, and make a week's worth of posts. Like, oh, like 2 sentences, like, and that's a great test project. It doesn't have to be, yeah, this big thing. And anyway, great example, and hope they're working out for you. So yeah, I mean, some of the stuff. So yeah, I mean, Shopify websites. So that's a little bit tricky. I mean, it's like if you could, I mean, I'd look for examples. I guess it depends if you're working with like an agency, because like yeah, if it's an agency or like an individual designer developer. So if it's an individual, it'd be like, make 1 page. Like, I'll pay you to make, like, let's start with, 1 page. A lot of people use agencies for websites, and that's
Yeah,
like,
I guess the
I don't
difference
know if
is,
they don't really do test projects.
are you hiring this who to work for you for a long time, or are you just hiring for one project? Then you don't really need a task project per se. You just need to hire it out. And it's good that you guys are thinking about, hey, like, because for example, on my org chart here, I have web manager, like an overall website manager, being a hireable position eventually, because right now my admin assistants are kind of overseeing that as well as me. But for web design, that's more of like a one-time hire, right? Where you're kind of identifying your project, and it's better that you hire that versus doing it yourself sometimes, because it's going to be time consuming.
Yeah, and yeah, that, and also a lot of things, and to kind of clarify, and something else that people, I think, sometimes don't realize, is that you don't need to hire these people full time. So, great example, my slide designer, he's not full time. I mean, we've worked, like, he is my slide designer. Whenever I have a presentation, we work together on it. We've done a ton of stuff together. Like, he's great. Love working with him. He also, he's not full time. I mean, he also has other gigs, and he's a freelancer and has projects, and like, so he still fills that seat. And I don't need him to be full time. And with a designer, it's just like having your go-to person for each of those seats, which again doesn't have to be like a full-time role. It's just having someone that handles it. All right, so getting towards the end and running out of time, but it's okay. Thought I want to leave you with is just that now, literally in the history of the world, is the best time to build an online business, and even more so an e-commerce business. So COVID has accelerated the shift to more things online, people buying even more online, and a lot of other industries are not are struggling, and so that means there's amazing quality of people that are available that are looking to work online, and we're building online businesses, and therefore we can get the best people for the lowest rates, uh, with this huge demand for e-commerce. And so just realize this and hope you can take advantage. And so last thing to wrap up. So I hope that I can be a who for you, or I have been a who for you in sharing this, and given some insight or shift in perspective that can be useful for you. And if there is more that I can do to help, you have more questions, please let me know. Like I said, I love doing this. I love helping people with this stuff. So I mentioned some downloadables that we've got for everyone that is here. If you go to sellerplex.com/amazing, you get a couple of things. So you get the workbook with the action items that we've been going through. You get the FBA Exit Blueprint, which is an ebook that me and my team authored, all about walking you through the nine steps, I think, to go to unplug from your business so you can scale as well as prepare for a successful exit. That's the book that I wish I had before I sold my business, and hope you enjoy it, as well as presentation slides. And obviously I had to go through this pretty quickly, and you can review this material at your convenience. So with that, let's connect at Nate Ginsburg on all social. Again, sellerplex.com/amazing. And I know this is we're doing business stuff here, and I love business stuff, but I also love other things. I love yoga. I love Burning Man, which sadly was canceled for this year, but also understandably. And if there's anything I can do to help, would be my pleasure. And so just first, Sunny, thank you. Really appreciate that. And Mark. So I use Upwork is the platform that I use to. I've hired people from all over the world from Upwork. That's definitely. We use a lot of different channels for our hiring, but that's our first go-to, and that's where we found the most people. And they have people from all over the world.
Yeah, love it. Well, thank you
Yes.
so much, Nate, for being here.
Yeah.
I think everyone really, really enjoyed it. Thanks, YouTube, for our folks on YouTube for all the engagement. And a few of you came from Facebook today, too. I know it's early in the morning in the US. It's 8 a.m. here. So, and it's very late on other sides of the planet. So I'm sure people will be catching the replay as well. So continue to post your comments. Nate's in all of our groups. He's very well connected with us. So
if you have questions, tag me so I see it, and happy to chat more with those that see it later. And Amy, I just want to say I'm so happy to hear what you shared about with your business and getting the org chart and putting these things to use and it being helpful. And super excited about that, and for you and for your business and for everyone listening, and hope that can be a great example to be an awesome action taker like Amy. And if you need help, you've got this amazing macro who, Amy, of course, to support and in your corner, and me as well. So
yes.
Thanks, Amy. This was so fun. Thanks everyone for watching.
All right. Thanks, everyone. And we'll, as we mentioned, leave your comments. Go to sellerplex.com/amazing to get all the free resources that Nate's offered, as well as a copy of the slides. And continue to post your questions if you have them. And, we're always happy to ping Nate afterwards. So, but thanks again, Nate, for being here. And thanks, everyone, for paying attention this morning or evening, wherever you're at, across all the social media channels. And we will catch you next time. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.